Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk you through exactly what I see when I'm riding around a racetrack. It's going to be an onboard lap from the Ascari circuit in Spain that I rode at last week. And yeah, I'm going to talk you through exactly what I see, things that I would look out for, things that I'm doing on the track, and hopefully you can use that to improve your own track day riding. So without further ado, I'll get this video up and talk you through exactly what I see. So this is me leaving pit lane and I'm just checking the track to make sure no one's coming. There's a bit of a chicane on the way out here. So this is my first lap out of the pits. So the first thing is to sort of check the bike's alright, just adjusting the mirror there so I can see people coming from behind. You can see there I didn't tip in that fast, that's because the tyres are cold, so I'm just letting the tyres warm up a bit first. It's a pretty amazing track to ride around this. So the first few corners on any track I kind of just ease my way into it, so you can see I'm not fully leaning the bike over here. I'm running wide, I'm still bolt upright through there. That's just because the tyres are cold. So I've done two, this is me doing a bit of swerving to try and get some heat in. The first two corners were left-handers, so I can increase the lean angle a bit more. Then I've gone round to right-handers, so the first right-hander you have to make sure that you don't tip in too fast there. This is a tight hairpin, so you're back to first gear here. So you can see I gradually start increasing my speed bit by bit. I've got a little bit more lean angle here, but I'm still not getting my knee down at this point. And the further you get into the lap, the more your tyres heat up, the more you can start leaning over. There's no real gauge for doing that, you just have to be careful at first. You see a lot of crashes on track days on their opening lap just because they've got cold tyres, so it's really important to make sure your tyres are warm. We did have tyre warmers on this day, but they weren't on my bike at the time, so these tyres were stone cold. So now I'm halfway around the lap, I gradually increase the speed a bit more. A good tip for trying to build up your speed when the tyres are cold is to do it in a straight line. So I try and really accelerate hard when the bike's upright. You generate a lot more heat like that. And then when I brake, I try and brake hard upright before I start leaning into the corner. And that will heat your tyres up faster without having any risk that when you're leaning over that you're going to lose the front or high side. So the tyres are pretty warm now. I'm building up into this. You can see that wall on the outside there is pretty close on this track, so you wouldn't want to crash there. This track, Ascari it's called in Spain, I've never been there before. It's owned by some multi-millionaire who's basically just made his own playground. It had like a restaurant and a bar, and it's a pretty amazing track. It's got a swimming pool. But it was primarily built for car racing and driving, not motorbikes, so that's why the walls are pretty close and there's not even any hay bales or tyre walls. So this is the end of the first lap. The tyre's warm now, and I'll talk you through exactly what I start seeing as I build up my speed around the lap. So we're coming on to the start finish. I'm in third gear here, so try and use all the track there. It was quite blind coming out of there, and brake. It's important to be fast past the pit wall because that's where everyone's standing. Cut across the paint there and there's a bit of a bump, the bike wheelies on the way out there. Here you could brake hard, but the track's off camber, so I'm letting go of the brake early, letting the bike roll through there without too much brake, because the track drops away from you. If you've got a lot of brake as you're trailing into the corner, it's easy to lose the front. So you can see around the track there's orange cones everywhere. I'm using the orange cones as references to brake at. It's important when you ride around any track to try and find some reference points, so I'll talk you through references as I get to them. There's another orange cone on the left there, so that was my braking marker. Trail the brake in, let go of the brake, try and use all the track on the way out there, and this is a hairpin, so it's back to first gear I think here. When I come out you'll hear a short shift. I don't know if I did that time, I might have just left it in second. And then this section of the track, you go second through here and then up to third. You can see a short shift, so the reason I short shift, and for people that don't know what that means, it's basically just clicking a gear earlier than you normally would, so you click it before the bike's revving out, and you do that to prepare for the next corner, so you get into the gear early whilst you're on the side of the tyre, so the RPM's in the right place when you get on the throttle at the next corner. So that wall on the left there, shut off there, this kink was so fast, you see 180 kilometres through there, it was good fun. Then this next kink was completely flat out in 6th gear on the rev limiter, so I'm doing 270 odd there. Brake past that. This corner was nice and banked, so try and get tight to the curb there. Careful not to clip your handlebars through the tyres here. Left, right, left. And then there is where you don't want to lose the front because there's this wall on the way out. So the track drops down here, and this chicane was really good fun. Flick it right and then left. There, I used about 3/4 of the track because I'm trying to set myself up for this next section. If I used all of the track there, it would have made that next right-hander too tight and tricky to get round. So corners like that, I try and just use less of the track on the approach to it. Again here, you'll see I only use half of the track on the way out, so I've got a better line for this corner. This next corner is tricky because it's so fast, and you'll see I just rub the front brake there, and I just touch the front brake to sort of get the bike turning a little bit, get some weight on the front tyre and let the bike turn through the corner. If I didn't get on the front brake there, the bike would sort of feel like it's floating the whole way through it, and that's a horrible feeling when you're on a bike. So I just do that to try and load the suspension. A little bit of a wheelie there. So back to this corner. You see, I go out of shot, but I let go of the brake about there and let the bike coast down that steep bit, so I haven't got a lot of brake on, so I won't lose the front. Use all the track here. I had to brake a little bit earlier than that cone there. I think these cones are actually for car racing people. Here, I think it's this next corner, I'm run wide, and the reason I run wide is I out-brake myself, and then I squeeze the brake really hard and I get a massive ABS pump. So you see there, I completely missed the apex. That was just the ABS letting go of the brake, which, yeah, I'm not a fan of ABS because I like to feel it myself. So here's another place I'll short shift, first, second, so I'm in the right sort of RPM range now around this corner. I ran wide there because I ran in too fast basically, and then I couldn't get the bike stopped. So second through here, you can see another rider approaching, so I'm sort of got one eye on him, see what he's doing as I get close to him. Here I can brake hard, you'll hear the bike judder. That's because I backshifted too early and the bike's struggling to get in gear, so I should have backshifted a little bit later there, that would have stopped that judder. Here I've got one eye on the guy that I'm trying to pass and on the corner, so I know I need to brake by then. Get off the brake, on the throttle, drive hard through there, accelerate, and this is this flat out section again where I'm up to 6th gear. You'll see the rev limiter just about get clipped there. And brake hard upright into this corner, and this is the flip-flop chicane. This was good fun, but you just wouldn't want to crash through any of this bit because I'm pretty sure that wall would come up fast. A little bit wide there, to be honest. You can see all the time as well, just as I'm about to brake, my fingers are already on the brake. Like, they're not touching the brake, but they're hovering over it. And the reason for that is I try and minimise the amount of time between where I'm hard on the gas and getting on the brakes. If you close the throttle and then have a big delay before you grab the brake, it's basically just free time where you're just coasting, you're not doing anything. You can see it there when my fingers are above the brake. You'll see it again here, I think. Watch my right hand. See, so before I've closed the throttle, my fingers are already going for the brake, and it just stops this coasting feeling, and it's basically free time, because if you're coasting, really you should either be accelerating or braking. There shouldn't really be any free time where you're not doing anything. So by having my fingers there already, it reduces that time basically. So getting into it a bit more now, this is the 3rd lap round and sort of got a bit more feel for the track. The tyres are nice and hot. It's a really enjoyable track this. This bit, because it's so flat compared to the other bits, it didn't feel like you could really bury the front in there that well. Whereas the other corners have got quite a lot of camber where it felt quite positive. So it felt a bit hard through that flip-flop there. It felt like it would be easy to lose the front. That was better there. I used more of the track, used all the track on the exit. The reason you use all the track on the exit, not this corner because I'm setting myself up for the next one, but the reason you use all the track is basically the more, if you wonder what happened there, I was looking at a photographer, the more you stand the bike up as you're leaving the corner, so you'll see here, I try and get all the way to the edge of the track. That means you can pick the bike up, you get on the fatter part of the tyre, and because you've got less lean angle, you can accelerate harder because you've got more contact patch with the rear tyre. So here as well, especially shorter, tighter corners like that, the quicker you can get the bike stood up, especially on a bigger bike, on a 1000cc bike, the harder you can accelerate faster basically. So this is this fast kink again. There you go, got the rev limit at that time. This was a fun corner. You can see how cambered it is when you're going in there, so it felt like you could brake quite late. These corners, it's difficult to tell, but I kind of set myself up before each corner. So as I'm going left, I'm already moving my bum to the right to change direction. it was the same there. So I'm off the right hand side, but before I've even gone left, my bum's already moving, and I move my bum so that I can get into position quicker for going left. Coming around to the end of the lap here. This corner is so cambered, it's not really like any bike racing track. It was really good fun, and that was off camber there. It was more difficult. You see my fingers going for the brake there. And that is the end of 3 laps, so this is me coming in the pits. I'll just check my mirrors, check no one's behind me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. It went quite fast, it went faster than I thought it would. If you want me to do more videos like this, then let me know. If there's any other tracks you'd like to see me talk you through, yeah, let me know in the comments. If there's anything you liked about it, tell me. If there's anything you thought it was missing, tell me. Because these are quick and easy videos for me to do, and I can bang a few of these out. So if you enjoyed it, let me know below. That was a good, fun 3 laps of the Ascari racetrack, and I'll see you next week.